All right, folks. Hope you're doing well. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, I'm I'm recording class for week 3 for the standard track tune. Times they are A-Changin. Yeah, let's get into what the plan is for today. So I want to obviously do a playthrough, maybe just do like verse 1 through verse 3 or something like that. I really wanted to focus on singing and playing today, and then also stepping up our difficulty level if we're looking to try to get into some of the challenges that are present in the intermediate arrangement. Please let me know if you got any questions. You can hit me up via Slack. Yeah, and I'll do my best to answer. All right, let's remind ourselves of what this rhythm sounds like. Remember, accent on beat 1, and then softer down strums on beat 2 and 3. Really straightforward. 1, 2, 3, ready? Sounds like this. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And remember, on beat 1, you can snap that finger out to get a little more of an accent, or you can just twist your wrist a little harder, right? Let's remind ourselves of the left hand. We need a G chord. We need an E minor chord. We need a C chord. We also need a D chord, A minor, and that's it. Those are all the chords we need. All right, let's remind ourselves of the chord progression. G to E minor, C, and then G for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, ready, here we go. Gather, E minor, and C, and then back to G, 2 measures, right? Then admit the E minor, and C, and then D. And then G, E minor, and C, and then G again. Now in our second line, G, A minor, to D7. Good. So you better start 3rd fret, 2nd fret, to G, the times they are A-Changin. Good, and finish on 1. Cool. Remember, the right hand does have that variant where you can put the up strum in between beats 2 and 3, but let's try not to overuse it, right? Maybe we only use it on transitions, maybe we do it every other one, but try and keep the main consistent rhythm, that 3 part, right? All right, let's try our right hand kind of alternating between those two. 1, 2, 3, just the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3. And let's put it in. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Back to quarter notes. And then fill it in with the 8th note. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, back in. Last one and finish on 1. Good. All right, so remember, we can place that at the end of each line. We can kind of pepper it in wherever we want to. I'm going to try to be strict about doing it like the arrangement, but if I throw one in on the 2nd or the 3rd rotation, yeah, don't worry about it. All right, let's give it a try. Actually, let's go ahead and pull this up. Can remember the chord progression here. 1, 2, 3, ready? Here we go. Gather around, people, wherever you roam. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I think last week we had talked about going to a different E minor. We can start there for kind of our intermediate step up in difficulty. So we've got an easy version of this tune, which is holding the G chord here, and then lifting off the ring finger to get that E minor 7, right? And then switching to the C, and then the D for 7 is like that, right? So this is kind of the easier version for that E minor. If you want to play kind of a full E minor, what you're actually going to do is shift from the G chord. Our ring finger is going to jump 1 fret up here to the 4th fret. Now you'll notice something. Do you see how my 3rd finger, the ring finger, is on the 3rd fret? Now if I wanted to go to 4, if I stay in this position with my left hand, right, then what I'm going to have to do is really reach See how my finger stretches out? I can mute this E string. one of the things that you can do is just shift this G chord up 1/2 step. See how my thumb kind of is right here? Watch it shift. It's that marker. See how my pointer finger, ring, and middle finger all move together in sequence, but my thumb also shifts up. So I shift up to 4 like this, and now I'm in the right position for that E minor. So if you want to work in this kind of harder, full version of E minor, just remember that you're actually switching positions when you make that transfer. Let's try some whole notes moving between those, thinking about that little aspect of it. 1, 2, 3, ready. Here we go. G, 2, 3, ready, and switch. 2, 3, ready, and back. 2, 3, ready, and switch. 2, 3, ready, and back. 2, 3, ready, and 2, 3, ready, last time. 2, 3, ready, and 2, 3, and ready. Let's finish on G. Nicely done. So yeah, that's one of the hardest aspects of that chord change, is actually knowing that you need to switch positions. So really try and avoid kind of, holding the chord shape here and then trying to like reassemble that chord, at the same time, all trying to maintain contact and a little bit of pressure. What you really want to do is just slide that hand and shift, and now your fingers are ready to get into that new shape. Cool. All right, so that's one aspect. Actually, let's do a playthrough. Yeah, let's go ahead and do verse 1, verse 2, maybe even verse 3. We'll see how it goes. Maybe verse 1 and verse 2. Let's keep it short. 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's go to this review. 1, 2, 3. Ready. Come gather around E minor, people wherever you roam. And remember, on this playthrough, maybe do that more simple E minor 7. 2, 3, ready, and come gather around. Cool. So remember, try and think about that whole chord progression being connected and tied to how that melodic line moves. A lot of times, if you can remember how it sounds when the vocal melody does something interesting, or maybe a lyric, it can trigger your hands to find that harmony and move into the right place, right? It's all about just memorizing it in the context of how it sounds in your ear and how it feels to play with your fingers, right? All right, let's, what should we focus on next? I think what I want to do is actually move into some singing and playing. We'll just kind of analyze that verse 1 again, really marking where those key points are. Oh, of course, my thing is going to stop working. Sorry, while I do a little technical stuff. Reconnect my stylus, my pencil. Yeah, we're going to mark where those chord changes are in terms of the syllables of the words, and we'll see if we can just apply that to verse 2, right? Remember, when I write out these song sheets, what I'm looking to do is, not just give you something that your eyes can lock onto, and they really need that visual stimulus for you to be able to move through the tune. What this is just kind of marking where you need to change your chords, and it'll help you a little bit with the cadence of your melody when you're singing with your voice, right? I don't want you to have this be kind of a, you following a set of directions. It's more like it's just a guide, right? It helps you to find where those moments are and where you should be accenting the, where you should be placing the downbeats of each measure into this tune. I think it's going to work in a second here. Yeah, cool. Awesome. It worked. So here what we're going to do is just kind of tap out our rhythm on the table. And remember, strong beat on beat 1. And I like to do that with my pointer finger or my thumb, whichever you can get a louder sound from or whichever feels a little more natural. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And there you have kind of your grid laid out, and you can hit each one of these syllables whenever that first beat comes around, right? 1, 2, come, gather. Right there on that downbeat, you can see that come is a little bit of a pickup measure. 1, 2, come. You sing on 3, gather, and then on beat 1 is where you drop in. Cool. So let's try and do that first line. We'll do 2 rotations of each line. 1, 2, 3, ready. Here we go. Gather around people wherever you roam. 2, 3, next measure of G. And admit that the waters around you have grown. And accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. 2, 3, ready. If your time to you is worth saving, good. 'Cause you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changin'. We'll do 2 rotations, and this time, instead of tapping on the table, let's see if we can take it to the uke without adding the left hand. We'll cover the strings with our left hand, and we'll strum those quarter notes with our pointer finger. 1, 2, 3, ready? Come gather around people wherever you roam. 2, 3, ready? And admit that the waters around you have grown. Good. And accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving. Good. So you better start swimming. You sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changin'. Remember, if you are looking to add a little bit of difficulty, you can of course add the variant, adding that up strum, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. But same idea, right? Taking away a little bit of the difficulty so that I can work on adding another element, adding the vocal line singing on top of it, right? All right, let's move into rhythm. One technique I want to show you real quick is this ghost note here. So what I'm doing is playing the G string, and I'm going to use this as a rhythmic element to kind of texture my strum a little bit, so that the strum, especially when you're doing that 1, 2, and 3, the alternate with the up strum, gets it a little bit more. See how it has a little bit more lightness to the sound of it, because I'm substituting one of the beats of my rhythm with a ghost note. So instead of 1, 2, and 3, I'm now going 1, 2, and 3. See, a little bit lighter on that ghost note. Now, the key thing for playing this G string is that you want it to feel the same as when you're doing that down strum in terms of motion, right? I still want to be moving down, but you'll notice that I'm engaging my thumb when I play that G string, right? So I'm playing down. Here's my next downward motion, but instead of strumming, I'm grabbing that G string. It's like a ghost note, right? It's a little bit of like the opposite of an accent, right? When we play an accent, what we're trying to do is make a stronger sound that stands out. Here, what we're trying to make is a softer sound that kind of blends more into the background, kind of an under emphasis, right? All right, so let's try alternating between a strum and a ghost note. Nice and even, just so we can start to get this technique a little bit in our bodies. 1, 2, 3, ready? Here we go. Down, thumb, down, thumb, down, thumb. Just alternating. Remember, try to feel a little bit of bounce or lightness. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember, if the accuracy is not there and you accidentally hit the C string or miss the G string even, don't stress. Remember, it's an underemphasis. So if you miss, you're actually still underemphasizing, right? 1, 2, ready, and finish here on 1. All right, now let's see if we can put it into the rhythm. Remember, 1, 2, and 3. Down, thumb, up, down. Down, thumb, up, down. And down, thumb, up, down. Down, thumb, up, down. And down, thumb, up, down. Down, thumb, up, down, down. Let's try and pick up the tempo a little bit. 1, 2, and 3. Down, thumb, up, down. And down, thumb, up, down. Down, thumb, up, down. Remember, that accent is still on the first beat, so I want to make that one the loudest and the strongest. And then I'm following up with a little bit more variance in the type of sounds I use for the rest of the rhythm. Down, thumb, up, down. All right, we'll pick the tempo up one more time. 1, 2, and 3. Down, 2, and 3. Down. Beautiful. And let's go back to our first rhythm, quarter notes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And let's try our variant. 1, 2, and 3. Down, thumb, up, down. Down, thumb, up, down, down. Back to the first. 1, 2, 3. We'll go 2 rotations before switching. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. 1. All right, now 1 rotation and alternate. Quarter notes and your fill. Down, thumb, up, down. And finish on 1. Nicely done. Really subtle, but remember, if that technique doesn't feel comfortable, if every time you do it, it feels forced, and that means that we need some exposure to the skill, right? We need repetition. Remember, consistency comes from repetition. So think to yourself, can I repeat this technique enough times so that it feels like autopilot when I'm doing it, right? Could you guys give me 1 second? Hey, boys, keep the volume down just a little. All right, here we go. 1 more rotation. Actually, no. I think that feels good. Let's see if we can add the chords. We'll just go through the whole progression, right? G, E minor. If you want to challenge yourself, you can jump into this chord shape. But again, we're really focusing on the right hand. So if you want, you can just go to this E minor. 1, 2, 3. Ready? Here we go. Actually, for this rotation, let's see if we can do that rhythm for the whole thing. That way we can get nice big frequency, right? So we're playing 1, 2, and 3 for the rhythm. And let's try to go through the chord progression. Ready? And G, gather, E minor, people, C, ever, and back to G for 2 measures. Beautiful. And that E minor, and C, back to D this time, and back to G, E minor, and C, and then 2 measures of G. If you time to U, A minor to D, beautiful. And here's where we go through our walk in the D, and then open, and G to C, and then D, and then G. All right. We'll try one more variation of this exercise. We're going to do each line now with a different rhythm, right? So my first line, I'm going to go back to those quarter notes. Here we go. Come gather around people wherever you roam. For our next rotation, let's try that variant. And with that, the waters around you have grown. Back to the first rhythm. Accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If you'd switch, they know is worth saving. Back to quarter notes. Are you ready? So you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone. And change one more time. C and D and G. All right. Cool. Yeah, not too much change. I think I'm actually going to keep it there as far as adding difficulty, right? Let's let's keep it yeah, let's keep it there. I think where I want to jump into is kind of transposing that exercise where we were doing the tapping exercise for where we would put it here on verse 2. Cool. So verse 2, obviously those aren't there, but remember, you can always print off a copy of this, and then you can do one of my students called the dot technique, right? Come riders, and you just put that little circle there, and it gives you, ooh, oh, it's a dotted line, that's why. Sorry about that. Make this not dotted. How would we do that? Oh, it's here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. So we just put a little dot here in place of where we would put those chord letters, right? Come writers and critics who prophesize with your pen. And don't forget that there's a second measure of G out there, right? All right, let's see if we can try that line. Just doing tap it. Actually, let's strum it. Yeah, we'll cover the strings, and you can do either the variant or you can just do chord notes. 1, 2, 3. Ready? Sounds like this. Come writers and critics, prophesize with your pen. Let's try that line again. Come writers and critics, prophesize with your pen. And I'm going to give you about 10 seconds if you want to follow along, or at least just sight it with your eyes, where you would place these ones. Keep your eyes wide, just kind of place them. I'm going to do it on my own. Won't come again. Yeah, I'm going to place them there just sort of temporarily, but see if you can figure it out. And then when I write it down, let's see if it matches, if you got close to the same outcome. Cool. So where did you place it? For me, I placed it right over. How do I take this thing away? Yeah, for me, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, for me, I kind of placed him here, right? I put him here. Keep your eyes wide. The chance won't come again. That's sort of where I placed it, right? Did that match up with what you were doing? If it didn't, it's okay. You'll start to get into the feel, and especially if there's a little bit of a question mark or you're confused in any way about where you should place it, just try that tap method, If you've got that, then what you can do is just repeat that same line over and over until you're really sure. You have sureness of where exactly that spot is where you should make the transfer, right? So I'll tap it out and keep your eyes wide. The chance won't come again. You notice how, I'm really feeling my way through the melodic line, but I'm not doing something so difficult with my right hand that it's impossible for me to make to kind of put a little bandwidth into what my voice is doing, right? That's the key is it's do something so simple that, as soon as I add my left hand, that can be a lot more of a challenge, right? But if it's just the rhythm I'm focusing on, then it can be really helpful, right? Keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. Let's try those 2 lines. Writers and critics, prophesize with your pen. 2, 3, 1. And keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. And let's see if we can keep moving. And don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin. But there's no telling who that it's naming. For the loser now will be later to win. So that's a little bit of a trickier line, right? Because you gotta hang on some notes. You kind of don't. How I would sing this is for the loser. Oops, that's in pencil. Let's try there. For the loser, now will be later to win. Yeah? A little bit tricky, right? We hang on some of those words, we stretch it out long, and then we rush a little bit when we sing now will be, right? Let's see if we can try it again. 1, 2, 3, ready. And for the loser, now will be later to win. Do it again. For the loser, now will be later to win. Last time. For the loser, now will be later to win. For the times they are a-changin'. The nice part about that is that, right, we're still repeating that line. So we know how to sing it, hopefully from the first rotation. Cool. Where are we at? 26? Yeah, I think we're going to call it there. Remember, you can just extend on that. You can just extend on that concept or that technique of kind of marking out exactly where those dots are. And remember, it's really important that we have clarity about how we're supposed to sing a line, because if we're struggling to sing that line, what happens is if we involve all of the technique that we learned for the tune, right? The right hand rhythm, being able to play that variant. Oh, I've got that new extra technique with the ghost note. I'm also still struggling moving into that new E minor shape, 0-4-3-2. I'm still having a hard time switching into that D7 and then making those additions, right? 2, 2, 0, 3, 2, and then 0. If we start to add and pile on the difficulties of what we're managing and what we don't have quite in muscle memory yet, then what happens is it's a lot harder to synthesize all those skills, to put them all together, right? So we really want to strip away what we're doing, maybe just go to the rhythm. Whenever we're focusing on adding a new skill like melody, or working through a trickier part like, verse 3, which I don't know as well, then we really want to make sure that we're doing something simple and we're doing something repeated, right? If you sing one line over and over again, what happens is you can make those small minor adjustments, be able to kind of tweak where each of those lyrics go, and then we get that clarity, right? Suddenly we're like, oh yeah, that's the way you sing it. I've sung it 2 or 3 times correctly. Now maybe I can add the chords with my left hand, right? I've sung it 2 or 3 times correctly. Now maybe I can move on to the next line and then be able to sing both of those lines together, right? Compounding or adding difficulty after you're really getting clarity and getting right in your body, getting it right in your body in a simple way, and then adding difficulty, that's such a better way to set yourself up for success, right? Okay, great work this week. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, remember, don't jump into class because we won't be having live class at this time. I'll be pre-recording it and sending it out before the weekend so you can watch it at your leisure. Otherwise, have a great Thanksgiving, or if you're watching it at any other time, have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.